Hey there, Danielle Matthews here. I'm coming to you live from Florida. And for those of you that have not come across my content before or maybe new to me, I am on a mission to help people break free of their past, break free of PTSD, and start to plant the seeds that will nurture post-traumatic growth to actually be able to bloom. I teach a lot of ancient wisdom for these modern times, and today is book club day. So if you are joining me here, stick around. This book club discussion is going to be entirely centered around Chapter 9. It doesn't matter if you've read the book or not. It doesn't matter if you've joined me for book club yet or not. This chapter, everyone needs to hear. This book, just so you guys know, it's Wayne Dyer. Those of you over on Instagram, over here on Facebook, Wayne Dyer's book, The Power of Intention, is what we're reading through. We just did Chapter 9 last week, and this one I think is something everyone needs to hear because it is all about, hey Lou, hey Peg, it is all about authentic and peaceful relationships with your relatives. I read that and I went, oh, that's going to get a lot of people. So if you think that it would be helpful for you to gain some insight to understand how do you have a peaceful relationship with someone that maybe doesn't understand you, has a polar opposite view to you, someone that maybe has treated you poorly throughout your life, how do you go to being an authentic version of you and still having peace in this relationship? What he shared was beautiful, and I can't wait to talk about it. So for those of you in book club jumping on, let me know you're here when you get here, and we can get started. It's noon, so I want to jump on and start because I feel like we're going to need a half hour to talk about this one. So again, this chapter 9, it is my intention to be authentic and peaceful with all of my relatives. That was the intention of this chapter, and it is beautifully done. I asked those of you that are in the Telegram chat to state your favorite quote from the chapter. Hey Larry, good day to you too, my friend. Hey Peg, good morning. Oh, you got to see my parents last night? Lucky. Yes, they're hanging out in Colorado. I wish I was there. They're coming to me next. So anyway, there was like 1,000 things I loved about this, but probably the most profound thing, and this is going to set the stage for all we talk about, was this quote. He says, how others treat you, you'll discover, has a lot to do with how you treat yourself and thereby teach others to treat you. What I love about this book, it is always all about coming back to inner work. Where you are internally sets the stage for so much externally, and that is the same with relationships with relatives, which I know can be difficult to navigate for many. So I'm just going to read a couple of things I underlined. Those of you in book club, if you want to kind of share some of the things that hit you, I think I'll just use some of these as a launching point. So one of them was, somehow we allow the expectations and demands of our family members to be the source of so much unhappiness and stress. We allow it. Catch that? We allow it to be a source of unhappiness and stress, when what we want is to be authentically ourselves and at peace with our relatives. The conflict seems too often to be a choice between being authentic, which means not having peace with certain relatives, or having peace at the price of your authenticity. And what he puts forth is, no, that actually doesn't need to be the case, but that is the way that your mind is telling you it needs to be, and it's getting you into all sorts of trouble. So this one we're gonna kind of pick through, and I'm curious, anyone listening, or if you're catching the replay, just type a 1. You don't have to say the name of the relative, but type a 1 if when you were reading this, or if you just caught the live, you went, oh man, I've got an issue. I wonder if this is gonna help. I think that there are interesting dynamics in all of our families. And Leah says 1. Yep. I was like, oh, okay, let me take this to heart because it can certainly help some relationships that I've got going on. Christy says 1. Yeah. What about you guys over on Instagram? All family is good? No, Peg says 1. Yeah. All right. So hopefully by the end of this, we'll gain some insight. I mean, it's all about us, right? That's just like, takes the power right back in here, and also gives you a lot of responsibility, which can feel like, oh, darn it. But they're not going to change till you change. So he says, the more you focus on how upsetting it is that your family doesn't understand or appreciate you, the more you attract more of their misunderstanding or lack of appreciation. I mean, everything we've talked about up to this point, he says, look, You're going to attract in what you have. So if you continue in your mind to have a problem with a relative, you're going to continue to create situations where you're going to have a problem. So he says, why? Because what you think about expands, even when you think about what you find unnerving, and even when you think about what you don't want in life. The more you think about what you don't want, the more you create what you don't want. Yeah, Larry says there's always various issues with the family. Yes. We'll get into this in a little bit about what yogic philosophy has to say. So he says, shifting from what they're doing to what they're thinking. I think this was probably one of the biggest lines. He says, shift away from these people are doing these things and it's bothering me to what you're thinking about what they do. Okay, so think on this for a minute. I always say your triggers are your teachers. And in yogic philosophy, take it or leave it, but they believe that souls reincarnate. And they believe that your soul comes into this lifetime and chooses your family. So you made the choice to have the parents you have, the siblings you have, the extended family that you have. You made a choice to incarnate into this family. This is what the yogis say. And you do that because groups of souls will travel together lifetime to lifetime to lifetime in order to help the soul evolve. Well, how does it do it? It triggers it. It gets it angry. It ticks it off. Why? Because that's when you develop. That's when you start to realize what thoughts that are inside of your head that are being triggered are not helpful to you. Okay, so it is profound when you can wrap your mind around this and go, wait a second, my sister constantly doing this to me. I can't feel like a victim, like I have the worst sister ever and it's not fair. I've got the worst dad, insert your relative, whatever it is. It's not fair. Like, what if you chose the lens of, no, I chose this situation. I chose to have this sister, this dad, this whatever. And what are they triggering in me? This is the chance to go, okay, thank you, because the trigger is the teacher. They're not to blame. They triggered something inside of you. So it's not that there's blame, it's in you. And Bodhi just gave a bark of approval. And so this is something that you then get to look at and go, okay. So Wayne says, shift from the thoughts of what they're doing to what you're thinking. That's it. Leah says, taking responsibility for my healing was key to my peace and ability to learn to love those who harmed. Yes. Yeah. In a crazy way, the people that hurt us are actually helping us, I believe, because they're helping us see what within us needs to be healed. What within us wasn't whole. What within us was seeking something externally. You don't need anything external. Yes, Peg says they are bringing the gifts of learning and growth. They are, and it can be very difficult. Some families, I would say, man, pressure creates diamonds because that's what it's felt like sometimes with my family. A lot of high-performing people, and it was ever since I was little, it was like, wow. So a lot of pressure there, but what happens with pressure? Well, diamonds come out of it, right? You learn a lot. You grow through what you go through. So he says, make their opinions of me, do not make their opinions of you more important than your own. Set the intention to teach them how you desire to be treated from now on. So you might be asking yourself, how can you possibly be responsible for teaching other people how to treat you? Did anybody read that and go, huh? How do I teach someone how to treat me? For me, I was just like, yes, he knows the secret because I learned this a little while back, and I see other people getting frustrated, and I'm like, well, you're actually perpetuating this by what you're allowing in your life. Isn't that crazy? Boundaries, you got to get clear. But he says, the answer is, in large part, your willingness to not only put up with listening to those familiar pressures, some of which are long-term, traditional, running back countless of generations, but also with allowing yourself to disconnect from your own divine source, and indulge in the low energy emotions of humiliation, blame, despair, regret, anxiety, and even hatred. If you allow yourself to get pulled into that mess, it's not the relative's fault. It's your fault. Okay? You allowed your mind to go there. And don't judge yourself. Don't get angry at yourself. You didn't know. Nobody taught us. Forever in life, we thought, that's the problem out there. But I'm here to say, and he's here to say, no, it's within you. It's the fact that you're letting yourself go to this, oh, I feel ashamed, or, I feel blamed, or whatever it might be. Marie says, I believe it isn't accepting things that you let them do anymore. They know what your triggers were and would play on them. Yeah, some people for sure manipulate on purpose. But again, I would say thank you to those people. Because these triggers in your life, you're not meant to build your life around comfort. You're not meant to go, well, that pisses me off, so I'm just going to put everything around it, or that hurts me, or that makes me cry, or that makes me angry, or that makes me not feel loved when you do that. It's about going, I am whole without anything happening externally. And if there's some situation you're trying to control other people, don't push that button. What he's saying is, no. They push the button, but you have the reaction. Stop having the reaction. Don't tell them to stop pushing the button. Tell your mind to stop having the reaction. That's huge. And that's everything, to realize, oh, I'm the master of within. Because it's the moment you drop into the reaction, you drop down. You're no longer connected to your divine source. You drop out of all of these things. Leah says respond instead of react. Yes. And sometimes you gotta move away, or I need a break, or you got to get out of the situation, because it's so easy to go into these habitual ways that you are, especially with relatives. But that's what the yogis say. They are here for you because you asked them to be, because you wanted them to consistently trigger the same thing so that you were aware of it and you could work on it. Marie says that takes major practice. Yeah, it's a lifelong practice. Okay, this is a lifelong practice, because there's going to continue to be things that get triggered within you. And your job is to look at them and go, well, why am I responding that way? Not, why did they do that? They always do that. I hate them. I don't want to hang out with them. Not that. It's to go, interesting. Thank you for showing me. Express gratitude. Thank you for showing me that. And then you can more skillfully figure out how you want to respond. Peg says, expectations that we have around our various family members. Yeah, we have expectations. Oh, Charlotte says, I needed this. I think the world needs this. Quite frankly, I think after the various opinions around this pandemic and coming through and all that's happening now in the world, it's like families have been kind of ripped apart. And we have got to stop seeing other people as this object that's a problem, and instead go, what is it within me that's getting triggered so I can deal with it, right? Because we're all on this human journey together, okay? Peg says, do trigger us, actually, that we trigger. Oh, hey, Callie. She says, the world does need this. Yes. Yes, indeed. I need a drink. I'm also getting sweaty. I'm heated up about this one. Speaking of family, I'm going to have a crab feast with my family this summer. I haven't seen them since 2019, which is wild. I used to see them every month. So let's go. All right. Let me ask you these questions. Are you using your mind to process your relatives in harmony with intention? Or have you abandoned or separated yourself in your mind by viewing your family in ways contrary to the universal source of intention? That's what I was just saying, right? You separate yourself. Callie says, we have Wi-Fi, solar Wi-Fi now, so apparently it's more reliable. Yeah, good. I'm glad you can join us. Yeah, oh, interesting. Peg says, separation is the bottom line for illness. Yeah, and I think too many of us are getting separated from family, from close friends even. I mean, I think this extends to probably friendships too. So he says, whatever power they have, you've given them. Number one thing to realize, the power they have, you've given them. The moment you respond, you get down on their level. Remember, he said to us earlier that a higher energy causes lower energy to come up to it, right? It's how do you get rid of darkness? You shine light. You pull the darkness up to the light. So if you are getting triggered by the relative, you're giving them the power and you're getting down on that level. Ouch, responsibility. Yes, on you. So think about this, but you could change the dynamics of all your family gatherings. If you come in with a high energy of peace, of love, of authenticity, and you meet these things that are maybe conflicting views, maybe some relatives of yours are racist. You've got intense stuff that you're this is morally wrong. I'm not saying to accept it. He's not saying to accept it. He's just saying, don't drop to that level. Don't come on there and start to get in this like tit for tat and you're wrong and I'm right and blah. Like, it goes nowhere. But if you can hold the space, a higher vibration, eventually in time, everything will raise up to that vibration. So this is huge. He says, if the focus of your inner dialogue about your family members is on what they're doing that's wrong, then that's precisely how your relationship with them will be experienced, that they're wrong. If your inner speech centers on what's annoying about them, then that's what you'll notice. You're going to notice all the annoying things. As much as you're inclined to blame them for your annoyance, it's actually yours. As Leah said, oh, responsibility. And it's coming from your thoughts. If you make a decision to put your attention, your life energy, this life force, on something quite different, your relationship is going to change. In your thoughts, where your family relationships actually exist, you'll no longer be annoyed, angry, hurt, or depressed. So you can set an intention like, oh, Kathy says, own it. That's right. You gotta own it. He says the intention can be to be authentic and peaceful with relatives. And then that's what you'll experience. So rather than getting all worked up before a family gathering or a holiday or whatever, we don't really have a lot of holidays coming up, do we? 4th of July. But we get all up in this in our heads before we go, and then we create the situations we hate in those holiday settings, right? Just stop the narrative in your own head. All right, I loved, like, if you have your book, page 166, like, I was like, oh, he just went there. And he says, try to imagine Jesus of Nazareth saying to his followers, I despise those people who despise me, and I want nothing to do with them. Or, it makes me so angry when people judge me. How can I have peace when there are so many hostile people around me? I was like for me, that was like bomb. I like read it multiple times. And when I was growing up, there was a saying, WWJD, what would Jesus do? And I literally wrote that in the comments, but on the side. But this, like, did anyone else, was this a moment for anyone else that was like, oh, like, if that's the example, if Jesus came here and showed us, he was an example of one of these enlightened beings, right? One that is connected. He was an example of showing this amazing peace and authenticity. Yeah, it was powerful to hear and to read. Yeah, I know, it's wild. I'm just going to read it again. Would Jesus ever say, I despise those people who despise me, and I want nothing to do with them? How many of you have gotten into this, I despise that, I don't want anything to do with that, and just cut it off? Yeah, you're falling out of alignment with intention. Or saying, it makes me so angry when people judge me. How many people have been judged? I have. I'm sure everyone has. How can I have peace when there are so many hostile people around me? It's an absurd thought. Literally, that's what he says. This is absurd. Because Jesus represents the highest loving energy in the universe. And that's precisely what he brought to presence. He brought this to the presence of doubting, to the presence of hostile people. He brought this in his presence alone, and he was able to raise the energy of those around him. You can do the same. You're connected to the same. He was an example for us, what we can strive towards and be. There's a lot of comments coming in. Peg says, a huge exemplar. Yes. Leah says, yes, Jesus for me is the true example. Oh, the convictions at time. Yeah. Christy says, yeah. Marie says, yes, we need to change us and not everyone else. We have to just love them. May have to stay away, but you can still love them and be peaceful when you are with them. Yeah. You can, of course, choose where your time goes, but also don't love from a, like, superiority place. Like, oh, well, they just don't get it and I'm better. I see some spiritual people doing that. No, just send love. Send love, period. Because maybe they incarnated in this life to be this example to cause others to realize it, right? You have no idea what a soul's journey is. Yes, fire, fire, fire. I agree, Peg. I feel like we can just stop there. That was like probably the most profound thing in the whole chapter. I was like, wow, bomb. Okay, so the next part, he's just talking about how he dealt with his own family, his in-laws. So, I mean, just go to that as an example. Page 167, if you need that, if you have issues before meeting with family. I mean, he basically talks about how before every outing, he got in his own head about how awful it was going to be, how they were going to annoy him. And so he just started to change. And what he did to change the relationship was he stopped judging. He literally stopped judging. So maybe they said a racist comment, and rather than being judgmental about what came out of their mouth, he would say, I never thought about it that way. Tell me more. Seek to understand. And sometimes when you come in without the charge, you come in and you have a conversation from that space, like maybe you can enlighten them about some things, or maybe they're going to enlighten you about something. Yeah, judgment causes a lot of problems. I always say, be fascinated, not frustrated with people. Be fascinated by them. I get super curious, especially when people have different viewpoints than me. It's like, well, why do they think that? You know, or what do they know that I don't know? Perhaps I've got it wrong. You know, who's to say? Another comment that, you know, write these down, keep these in your pocket, right? He says, that's an interesting point of view. When did you first learn about this? I work with some people that have some wild philosophies, and I'm like, where'd that come from? Or who's saying that? Or what's that based off of? You know, because I don't know what I don't know. Peg says, I really love these two ways of conversing and understanding them more clearly. Yeah, it's super good. Love that. Be fascinated. Yeah. I highlighted so much, and it's really just coming from that space. He totally has removed his own ego. And he's like, I don't have to convince, I don't have to change anybody, but like, let me seek to understand these people that are in front of me, because their life experience perhaps has taught them things that are wildly different than your life experience has taught you. You just don't know. So see what you can learn. He says, respond with a kind and gentle reminder of my own opinions and then let it drop. So he would listen, and then he would calmly state the way he thinks about it. Not in a like, I'm right, and blah, 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 you should do this, blah, blah, blah. Not like that, but just like, interesting, I've always viewed it this way. And then let it drop, right? You plant a seed perhaps, but you don't have to accomplish anything with that. Over time though, if you create this space and this like container, all of a sudden you're gonna see, well, they might shift and change. Whereas if you came with a confrontational attitude, like nothing's gonna change. But if all of a sudden you're open and allowing, that confrontation has nothing to go off of, and they're gonna be like, and again, you're raising them to this vibration where maybe now these people, these relatives of yours, can be more open. Leah says, it is humility at best. I agree. What's happening over here? Oh, I love that. Be fascinated. Yes. Hey, Steph. Peg says, so different than thinking. What do I need to say to change them? Oh my God, yes. How many have ever thought, what do I need to say to change this person? How do I change their mind? How do I convince them? How do I show them? They're so just wrong with where they are. I see it in my work with ASEA all the time. I see people trying to convince and change people that say no to them. Because like those of us that work with ASEA, we know how powerful it is. We know it can change somebody's life. And when somebody doesn't see it, we're like, what are you doing? Like, because we know it can literally be life-saving. But the thing is, that soul is on their journey, needing what they need, learning what they learn. We don't know. We have no idea. You can't play God. So, just remember that. Now, this was like a short and sweet chapter, but was probably the most powerful. Just like, boom, bombs coming off all over the place. So I'm going to just, some of the things that stuck out with me from his steps, because he always gives us steps, I'll just kind of share the highlights. I love the conversation that's happening in the chat. And those of you on the replay, please still put it. I'll still interact. So step 1, he says, identify your intention verbally and in writing and develop a deep yearning for it. Now, I was like, okay, whatever. Everybody talks about writing intention. But this is where, like, I had to read this sentence so many times. He says, rather than praying to a saint or God for a miracle, pray for the miracle of the inner awakening, which will never leave you. I read that and I went, that is the most powerful prayer someone could ever pray. Not, oh, save me, not give me a miracle, but awaken me to the miracle that I am. Like, Incredible. He says, the awakening of this inner light, once experienced, will become your constant companion regardless of who you are with or where you are. The dynamic force is within you. So being asked to be woken up to your own inner light of consciousness, your own connection to the divine, your own communication with God, with Source, whatever it is in your faith. I'm like, this chapter, that's why I asked you all in the Telegram group, what was your favorite line? Because I'm like, I had 20. It was so good. Marie says, I used to get uptight when we were going to my son's because my daughter-in-law was so negative. But John and I have learned to just pray that we will have a great time and enjoy each other and have fun. So much has changed when we go there because of our attitudes. There you go. You're practicing it. Yep, you are practicing it. Everyone practice that prayer, asking for that inner light to be awakened and for you to realize all that's in here. Like that's it, because everywhere you go, there you are. And if you are connected to the divine everywhere you go, God's with you everywhere. Source is with you everywhere, every step of the way. The miracle doesn't have to come externally. It comes through you, into you. I hope this is sinking in. All right, it's quiet, so maybe it is sinking in. All right, step 2. Intend for all your relatives what you intend for yourself. He says, when anyone criticizes, judges, acts angry, expresses hatred, or finds fault with you, they're not at peace with themselves. Stop taking it personally, right? Absolutely stop taking it personally. An angry person has nothing to do with you. That's anger within them. When you understand this dynamic yourself, now you start to have compassion for other people. They might be blaming you. I've had lots of people over the years of coaching people, holy cow, blaming me for this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, it's not me, it's in you. You know, I'm just like a mirror. It's like bouncing off of me, you know, for you to realize. Leah says, praying before meeting family with love that we were taught as children was brought much healing to our family. Good. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to do. Beautiful thing to do. Another thing that I found interesting, he said, be the peace you're seeking from others. I've never looked at things this way. Some of these little paragraphs are really profound with what he's telling us to do. He says, if you've got something that's non-peaceful within you, right? You get angry at the daughter-in-law, whatever it is. He says, say a friendly hello to the non-peace that's inside of you, and then let it be. You're sending a peaceful feeling to a non-peaceful feeling. So non-peaceful feeling, you're bringing a friendly hello, and you're like, hey, right? So you're sending this to this feeling. We'll make it look like that. He says, the lower energies you're experiencing will be strengthened by this peaceful hello. It's literally going to be brought up to that vibrational level. And and eventually it will vanish as the divine grows within you. So as you don't allow this crazy feeling to dictate everything, and you bring the peaceful hello, the allowing space to whatever negative emotion is hanging out, the anger, the resentment, the blame, the whatever, if you just say, oh, hi, oh, there you are, oh, you're loved here, what a different reaction versus letting it like take you all over on a ride. You're going, oh, you're allowed to be here. And eventually it's going to just and come up. Yes, Charlotte says it's important to acknowledge the feeling. Yeah, that's the whole point. You're being triggered so that you acknowledge that it's in there, so that you can deal with it, so that you can resolve it, so that it can be gone and not be with you everywhere you go. Exactly right, Charlotte. All right, he says step 4, match up with the 7 phases of intention, which we of course know. Your intention to be in a peaceful relationship is now taking form, first in your mind, then in your heart, and ultimately it materializes. He says, review all the obstacles that have been erected on your path to familiar peace. So remind yourself that when you think about what you resent, you act upon what you think about while simultaneously attracting more of it. So examine your energy level for your tendency to react to lower energies with more of the same, and give your ego the reminder that you'll no longer opt to be offended or need to be right. Oh, that's a hard one sometimes. Like, you get into it because you're like, I know I'm right in this situation. And then we're like relentless. Like, what's the point? What is the point? So often in life, I've gotten in tit for tat, blah, 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 blah. I hung out with a lot of very intellectual people, and it was like interesting, like this, like proving I got to be right. I'm right. What is the point? There's no point. Like, if it is causing problems, if it's not a friendly discussion, drop it. It's not your job to change their eye color. You know what I mean? Let it go. Okay. Step 6, see the light in those others and treat them as if that's all you see. That's another one-liner that just could be everything. Peg says, act as if was one of the most powerful steps. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. I just read it. I feel the same way. I truly believe, like, when you are acting, when you say the prayer to have this inner light turned on inside of you, it's amazing because then you know that you have it and you know every other human being has it. And so all you have to do is speak to that, see that. And again, it raises, it's like turning a light on in a dark room. You're shining light and awareness on that, and you're speaking to that aspect of that person. And where you put your attention, the energy is flowing, and that's what's going to come. They're going to rise to it. Not overnight, in time. And that's, I agree, Peg, probably the best step. Step 7 is detach from the outcome. When are they going to rise there? Not up to you. Not up to you. He says, it's not your place or your purpose to make everyone else in your family think, feel, and believe as you do. It would be boring if we all thought, felt, and believed the same things. It would be so boring. Like, the flavor of life are the differences between all of us and the way we look at things, right? And there's like this spectrum. It's like the yin yang. Oop, where is it? Right, this flow. It all goes. It's incredible. All right, the last one, he says, affirm, I attract only peace into my life. Oh, that's not the last one, but that's a good thing for us all to say. The last one is hold no grudges and practice forgiveness. He says, also have an attitude of gratitude for their presence in your life and all that they have come to teach you. Remember, the trigger is the teacher. The family member is your teacher. Think about the yogic perspective of I chose them. You don't need to believe it, but look at it with that lens and go, wow, they're a massive teacher for me. So that relative that you were thinking about, that I said put a 1 in the chat, what if we now look at that relative as one of your greatest teachers in life? Constantly pushing you to take responsibility, to go within, to master your own emotional state, to not just control everybody so you don't get triggered, right? Peg says, Om Shanti, Shanti Om, peace, peace, peace. It's my current mantra that takes me to this mind space to accept the best. Agreed. Nice. Christy says, detach from the outcome was a missing piece for me. Let go and let God. Yes! I highlighted that too. Let go and let God, right? It's like, oh, we don't have to do it ourselves. Like, amazing. Hold on to the trolley strap. It's going, right? This was a powerful conversation. I feel like we got the most interaction in the chat today, too. I knew this was going to be great. It was a short and sweet chapter, but good stuff. So chapter 10, guys, next week. It's my intention to feel successful and attract abundance into my life. Hey, I like that. So it is not as short. It's a longer chapter. Oh, no. I just went through 2. Oh, no. It's a pretty short one. 186, 173. So we'll be back next Monday. Doing that. I appreciate you all. What a fruitful conversation. And yeah, this is one I'll probably have to read again, listen to again, let it really sink in, apply what we're learning. So go out there and apply it. Sending you guys lots of love, and I will see you next week. And if you want, I think it'd be really fun as you're reading, put in the lines, like Christy, let go, let God. Put it in Telegram, because we can always refer back to Telegram, these little nuggets that we pull. I think it would be great. So. Hey, Leah, I appreciate your love and support too. So that's it. Blessings for all. Yes. I'm glad you caught us too, Callie. Glad you came on. All right. Lots of love, guys. See you.